So I'm just gonna have a good time, just like stack up on the Haribo. By the time they came, I'd be so high on Tangfastics I wouldn't even know what was happening. Hello and welcome to Spotlight Indie. As ever, I'm Frasier Armitage, part-time robot, full-time nerd, author of New Yesterday, Time's Ellipse, and A Stitch Between Worlds. And joining me today is a plethora of amazing authors. Let's start out by throwing it over to the co-host with the mo-host, H.L. Tinsley. Holly, how are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you, Frasier. Welcome back. I missed you.
Oh, I missed you. I missed everybody. And I missed Thomas. I mean, how rubbish was that?
We've had to bring him back just so that you can see him.
Hi, Thomas. How's it going?
Good. How about you?
Awesome. As you can see, it's Thomas J Devens, everybody. How cool is that? Right in the middle of his streak of videos, we're here with him on a group. I mean, it's like you can't get enough Spotlight Indie, can you, Thomas?
Not at all.
And joining us is the amazing fantasy author, L.L. MacRae. Lauren, how's it going?
Hey, it's going well, thank you. It's Friday. We made it to the end of the week, and now I get to chat to you lovely people and just chill. So this is just what I need. More of these sessions, please.
Yeah. Frasier therapy sessions. This is what it is. Yeah.
Yes.
So we're just going to have a chat and chill, guys. As you know, the Spotlight Indie event, and for anybody watching, for anybody who came to the Spotlight Indie event, it's a really informal, it's a really chilled out venue and vibe. So we just get to hang, we just get to chill, and we thought we'd bring a little bit of that atmosphere to the YouTube channel. So we thought, let's just get a cool group of authors together and just have a bit of a chill and a bit of a chat. First order of business, we actually have a really, really epic announcement to make, because there is a winner of our very first giveaway. Like, we're going to be drawing a winner right here, live, in front of everyone. The world's going to see. I mean, it's not going to be live by the time this goes out.
It's not live at all.
You've oversold this, Frasier. It's happening now.
Okay, so we are going to draw a winner for the signed copy of Lauren's book, The Iron Crown. And handily, we had 18 entrants. So I've actually decided that what we're going to do is we're going to roll a dice, because that's what we're good at. And if it's a 1 or a 20, we're going to have to re-roll, because I don't have any names written down for those. So, Lauren, if you have a dice to hand, if you would like to roll and tell me what number you get.
Drum roll, please. Roll. Number 11.
Number 11. So the winner of the signed copy of The Iron Crown is Sean Chalant. So we will put that out on the social medias, and we will obviously let you know how to get in touch with Lauren so that you can get the book sent out to you. Congratulations for winning our first giveaway, and there will be more giveaways to come in the future.
Congrats, Sean. That's amazing. Yeah, the Iron Crown. For people who haven't read The Iron Crown, Lauren, how would you pitch it to them?
So I always say classic feeling fantasy set in a magic drenched world with dragons, dark magic, curses, and corruption. It's got found family vibes, underdog vibes. You've got talking griffins, you've got a pet cat who gets involved in things. You've got kind of all of the classic fantasy vibes, just with more unconventional characters. It's a trilogy, so The Iron Crown is book 1, so it's pretty short. It's not one of these long sprawling epics, and it's really nice for when the world is rubbish and you just want to sit down and escape into another world for a bit. And I really wanted one of the worlds where there's loads of magic everywhere, not one of these where it's all dying out or there's no more dragons left. No, we're in the thick of it now. There's enchanted forests and spirits forming everywhere, and it's a lot of fun. So yeah, if you want a more modern take on classic feeling fantasy, that's what I'd pitch it as.
Do you like dragons, Thomas?
Of course.
What kind of a question is that?
Well, you say that, but the amount of times I say to people, "Oh, do you enjoy reading fantasy? Do you enjoy dragons?" Especially when I do the Comic-Cons where you think that most people there like fantasy. The amount of people that say no, I don't like dragons, it's quite worrying. And I never know what to say. I'm always like, oh, you've just not crushed a piece of my soul as well, But
they're just trying to be contradictory.
This is
Yeah.
it. Just trying to stir some stuff up, which we're not here for.
No, we're not about controversy. We're about the dragon love. Yeah, who doesn't love dragons? Honestly, some people today who attend these cons, on if you don't like dragons, don't come to Spotlight Indie.
No, you can. Everyone is welcome. We welcome a diverse range of opinions, including ones on dragons.
Okay, fine, you can come, but just pretend to like dragons for the sake of Lauren's health. Is it your favorite book to pitch, or do you have a different book that is your favorite when it comes to pitching?
That's a mean question. That's like, which of your pets is your favorite? And it's like, well, you like them all for different reasons, don't you? I think it's probably the easiest to pitch because you kind of, when you say that to most people who read fantasy, they've already got a good idea of where it's going to go. My debut series is still epic fantasy, but there's like a sky pirate airship steampunk flavor running through it, and that can be difficult because not everybody likes that kind of thing in their fantasy. So of the two, Iron Crown is easier to pitch for sure. Whether it's my most favorite to pitch kind of depends on the day.
I was gonna say, what about you, Thomas? What's your favorite book of yours that you like to pitch?
I don't like pitching things. But probably the Scroungers. At least I kind of just have fun with that. Like, it's just mayhem and nonsense and everything goes.
In all the best ways.
Yeah.
See, that was the question I was going to ask is, do you find that with your books, because obviously you've both written a few books, is the book that for you was your favourite to write, or is your favourite overall, is that the one you find tends to be more popular with readers, or do you find readers go for one that is not your favourite?
Good question. I think Iron Crown is more popular, but that it's not necessarily my favorite because I liked the Sky Pirates and the airships. For me, that was fun. It was my debut. Didn't really know what I was doing, so I just wrote what I wanted to write and had loads of fun with it because it's like, you're playing for the first time and you're building worlds for the first time. But that doesn't always resonate with everyone. So when you kind of write something a bit more to market, or at least marketable, it's going to have broader appeal. But the fun kind of comes down just a tiny little bit because you're like, oh, I've kind of got to color in the lines now instead of going over the lines as much as I would like. Not that I don't have fun writing it, but I just think when you compare to your first, that's where the difference is for me.
What about you, Thomas? Do you find that your kind of favourite to write is the same one that is the favourite of readers, or is it go a different way?
It's hard to tell right now because my favorite, picking a favorite to write is awful, but probably the novellas, because I just kind of said the hell with it and started having as much fun as I could with those. But they've only been out for less than a year each now. So my old book, there's much more copies out there, but it seems like based on how long they've been out, the novellas have been selling better. But also they're short, so that helps too, because everyone has their towering TBR, and a novella is a lot easier to fit in between books.
What about you, Holly?
Which of my books is my favourite?
Which was your favourite to write, and is that the favourite that everybody picks?
I think it changes from day to day. So I did love writing Vanguard. I still love writing Vanguard. I've been writing Vanguard today. Hit 80,000 words. Just throw that out there. A little milestone.
Nice.
Thank you. So yeah, I did love it at first. I think I fell out of love with it for a little bit, and now we're going through a reconciliatory period where we're starting to understand each other once again. We've been to counselling together and worked through our issues. But I think with the Hallows, which is my standalone, that enabled me to put a bit more of the wild ideas that I wanted to use in, because Vanguard, because it's a low fantasy, there's not much magic. It meant I was restricted in some of the more kind of wild and out there ideas that I had, like the flying nuns and the magical drugs and things like that. So the Hallows was like it was a bit more liberating, I think.
How come you wrote the Hallows after? Because if you had these cool ideas that you couldn't fit in Vanguard, I would think that you would write that first, almost, to kind of get it out and get the story going.
That's a good question. I think what it came down to was that with Vanguard, I had a very clear story arc and a narrative, whereas it was the traditional writer thing with the Hallows of where I'd got some really cool scenes in my head, but I hadn't really got a storyline to tie them all together. So that didn't come till later. And that's probably why I did it that way. But good question.
I want to know, Thomas, behind you is some amazing letters. Like, if you were to ever become an optician, would you be tempted to have like one of those boards, but just with those on it?
That would be great.
So, read the top line, please. Yeah, I love it.
Mess with people.
What's the inspiration behind all of that?
That is just because I had no art on my walls and I found a cheap tapestry that I like the look of to cover the wall until I have more art.
I love it. Love it. I think it works. It's working for you. It's great.
Yeah. See, now there's a setting for a fantasy story. A fantasy opticians. It could be like the new cozy fantasy.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool.
Just the tale of a man's adventure to try to see clearly.
Yeah. See, we've already got the tagline. That's it. And it would work really, really well as like if you did it for like, TTRPG, because then you'd have to make sure that everybody had the right specs. So
God.
Oh my God,
you'll be editing that out, right, Holly? That's like
No, I'm leaving that in. That's pure gold.
Everybody's now switched off. Like that's.
Oh, God. How long were you sitting on that, like waiting just to say that?
No, it just happened. It just happened.
Oh.
Most things, I'm very much a pantser when it comes to conversation. Trust me. So yeah, in terms of like what you're enjoying writing now, so is the book that you're writing now, because Holly, you mentioned about going through and into Vanguard and you kind of falling back in love with it. It got me thinking about maybe you, Thomas, and you, Lauren, about how does the book you're writing now compare to like your secret like greatest love of your writing life so far? Does it hold a candle to it? Are you in love with your stories, or are you kind of just sort of like waiting to find that romance with it yet? And you can answer in any kind of way you want that makes that seem like it made sense, because
yeah. Or let's jump in with a pre-question to that question. Are you guys both writing something at the moment? And if so, what are you working on?
I'm working on the next Vermin of the Old Empire novella. I was working on one, and then it turned into a different one. And just there were two characters that I really liked that I started deciding didn't really fit into that novella. So I just started writing a completely different one centering on those two. And yeah, I'd say the Vermin series is what I've been having the most fun with. So it's that same amount of fun of just kind of no holds barred, just bad jokes, gritty, dark, but sarcastic, and just having a good time, but also with a lot of like serious elements buried into it. So I really like that. There's like a lot of meaning behind the two characters that I've been having a good time writing, but still getting the ridiculous banter in there.
That sounds awesome.
How do you find writing a novella in comparison to novels? I'm assuming easier because you're doing quite a few of them.
Yeah, I like it a lot more, especially when I started out. I wasn't planning on writing novels. I always wanted to do like collections of short stories set in the same world.
Yeah.
And I started doing that, and then it just ended up being 100,000 words and a planned like 6-book series. So that didn't work out, and now I started this one that's novellas and short stories, and it's working, and I'm having a great time with it. And a hard time pushing myself to go back to the ongoing sprawling epic.
What are you working on at the minute, Lauren?
Thank you for asking me the question, because I'd forgotten what the question was. I was thinking about novellas. So I'm working on the third novel in my current trilogy. It's epic fantasy, but not like when people think of epics, you think 120, 150k, but sometimes people are like, oh, that's a small one. Unless you're writing 500,000 words, it doesn't count as an epic. So it's long for me when I'm writing all those words and editing them all, but it's not like unwieldy, if that makes sense. It's the first time I've ever finished a series. I know it's only a trilogy, but it's the first time I've ever written a finale. So that's interesting. That's where I'm like you, Holly, kind of the falling out of love with it a bit, because you've built up all these kind of subplots and character arcs, and all the threads are all very disparate, and it's like, right, okay, how do I actually make them come together in a cohesive way? You've got callbacks to books 1 and 2. You're closing circles on things, but it isn't like too neat that it just feels clinical. So I'm about a quarter of the way through that at the moment. So just shy of 40k. I wanted to hit 40k today, but I've run out of mental spoons. And then I was in wait mode for this. So that's fine. That'll be next week. It's fun. It's like, it's fun to just daydream about dragons all day. And I have to remind myself of that even when it does get difficult. But yeah, it's cyclical. I've worked on it enough that, I really like it, let me share it. And then I can never let anybody see this again, kind of just round and round it goes. I'm in an okay spot at the moment. I'm reasonably enjoying it if I don't think too hard about the stuff I'm going to have to come back to fix.
Are you finding that it's hitting you in the feels, having to think about ending the story?
Not so much the ending the story, but ending certain character arcs who have developed way beyond what I thought they would back in book 1. Like some side characters that really come into the fore and really getting their time to shine, because this is like the all or nothing thing. There's no more story after this, so you get to put in those kind of punchy things and the weird character pairings, and like this is the time to be silly and this is the time to like get it all. So like the characters are definitely hitting me in the feels more than I thought they would. And the feedback of, because I've worked very closely with my editor, and the first batch is already with betas, the feedback is already quite motivating. So yeah, ask me when I get to the end, and then I'll see how I feel about ending the story. But so far I'm okay. Yeah, no tears yet.
I will ask you when you get to the end. I expect you to tell me I've got to the end, and then I'll be like, Lauren, did it destroy you? Because of course, like the answer is going to be yes, right? It's like end a trilogy and just be like,
yeah,
like, it's going to be amazing.
I know. I'm kind of a bit of a magpie though. I've already got like the next shiny series idea in my head that I want to get to. So I don't know. Maybe I'm a bad author if it doesn't ruin me.
No, you're not a bad author, Lauren. I feel like it's going to ruin a lot of people. So
I hope.
Yeah,
that's the hope. Yeah, that's the dream. It's to just destroy people all over the world.
Yeah. Emails at 2 a.m. Why did you do that? I'm crying.
Yeah. Author goals.
Yes.
Yeah, although I get those emails, but not because it's destroyed people in the way you want. Just why did you do that? Like,
just sending you abuse and hate mail.
Yeah. It's the best part. I love it.
I have a new section for this video. Especially, we'll probably only do it once and never again. But I'm calling it "What Have You Been Googling?" So this is my take on a in-depth look behind the scenes of being an author, where we're going to ask Lauren and Thomas what they've been Googling recently, related to writing, not personally. We don't need to know about that side of things. So, have either of you Googled anything interesting recently that you can tell us about?
I think the majority of mine has been just Googling words that I'm making sure I'm using correctly or spelling correctly. I don't think I've done any weird Googles for a while about things like how long does it take a body to decompose?
So for me, I'm just going to read them out. So Severance season 3 ? Conjunctivitis in toddlers. 5x8 paperback book dimensions in pixels. And polygamy meaning.
Okay. Right.
That's a hell of a book, Frasier, that you're writing.
That was. I just wanted to make sure that I was using the right term to describe something. Free, darling, do not worry. So yeah, that's mine. I don't know if that helps, Holly.
Okay, so far we've got conjunctivitis, polygamy, and severance. Lauren, can you beat this?
Okay, I'm going to be terrible at this because I don't use Google. I haven't used Google in a while. I use DuckDuckGo because the AI nonsense was really irritating me, and it doesn't save what you've done. So I was really hoping I could just search what I'd been searching because I have the memory of a goldfish. I have the memory of I probably like Thomas, meanings of certain words or spelling. Like, is this the British way or is this the American way? Because brain can't figure it out for some reason. Or something stupid like, what's this part of a castle called? Because I don't remember. Or like, what's this? How like Googling horse anatomy so I can put that on like a griffin. So I'm like, it's this tall, but at the shoulder, what's the shoulder bit called, and that kind of thing. And for when I just have like brain farts and I forget the words, so I would describe the thing in my head and hope that it would tell me what the word is. That happens quite a lot. Yeah, I don't know if that beats what Fraser's been searching for, unfortunately.
Lauren, I have a follow-up question.
Uh-huh.
What's the most interesting thing that you found while Googling horse anatomy?
Well, to be fair, horse anatomy, not too many interesting things, but I was searching for medieval clothing names and the things that people used to wear from like the 13th through to the 17th century are very, very weird. Lots of different kinds of hats with odd names, very odd nightwear. And yeah, like it was a thread that I found very quickly what I was looking for because I couldn't remember the name of something. And then I was just scrolling and it was like alphabetical. So just reading all of the weird things that they used to wear, and what's French and what's Italian and what's Spanish and all of that. So that was a good one. Yeah.
That's amazing. I wonder what kind of outfits horses wore in medieval times. Because they did wear outfits, right? You see them all in the tapestries. They've all got wearing clothes, like at least like an overcoat, like draped over all of the knights and stuff. There's got to be names for it.
You can have like armor as well and like ceremonial pieces just for like to show how wealthy you are, which is really cool.
If you had a horse, Thomas, what kind of clothing would you dress it in?
Leather jacket, combat boots, give it a mohawk.
Yes.
That would be cool. I'm feeling like dragon cosplay. I think every single horse would love to get dressed up as a dragon.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're going down this road now. This is it. We're off the track. We're all answering this question now. Lauren, what would you like to dress a horse as?
I would give it wings so it could fly like that. That very basic, non-creative answer. Yeah.
What about you, Holly? We've all given ours.
If I was going to dress a horse, I would probably I'd probably get like a horse costume, like one of the pantomime ones, and just put that over the horse in the hope that it would cause some sort of identity crisis. That would be what I would do. Comment down below. This is vital stuff. Vital stuff.
Yeah. This
You
is
got
the
to
kind
get
of
two
stuff
horses to wear a human costume.
Yes.
that would be good.
Yeah. Like 3 horses in a raincoat. God, I want to know how your mind works, Frasier.
It doesn't, Holly. That's the
Has anyone ever Googled anything really weird in the past that has particularly stuck out in their memory? Because I've definitely had a few that have kind of stuck with me.
Like,
So one of my rabbit holes that I went down was looking at various foods and how they last through time and how they're preserved. So now in the back of my mind, I have a little list of foods that if I'm ever in an apocalypse style situation and I have to go and loot, the grocery store, I know exactly what I'm going for, and that is honey and cottage cheese. Because apparently those 2 things are indestructible and will last forever. So that's my plan because of that Google search. And weirdly, it was for a book, and I didn't even use that information in the book. I cut that chapter out.
I couldn't survive on cottage cheese. I'm not a cottage cheese fan. Honey, I could do, but not cottage cheese.
yeah, I don't think I could even eat cottage cheese, let alone survive on it. I would just kill me.
I'd rather eat a cottage than cottage cheese.
I mean, I'm not saying I would be looking forward to it, but I would do what it takes to survive.
I'd go Haribo every time.
But that
Oh,
won't
but-
last.
Oh, yeah, but it tastes so good. Like if you're going out in style in an apocalypse, come on, am I really gonna survive? I'm gonna be one of the first ones to go. So I'm just gonna have a good time, just like stack up on the Haribo. By the time they came, I'd be so high on Tangfastics I wouldn't even know what was happening. So Holly, what are we doing next?
Well, I thought that as Thomas and Lauren both have already played the game before and thereby know the rules, so I don't have to explain them, we could do a little bit of roll for insight because it would be good to hear some more answers to some more sensible questions than the ones that have been asked so far. So, Frasier, do you have our list of brand new for this episode roll for insight questions?
I do. I have my list.
Amazing.
Lauren, you've already rolled a fantastic roll earlier with your 11. Roll the dice for us, please.
12.
12. What's one assumption about indie creativity you would like to banish forever?
Oh, I love this.
We're not, basically, that we're not real authors. We're not really creating. It's all derivative. We're only doing it because we can't hack it in the trad world and all of that nonsense. Anything to do with we're not good enough or we're not real or we're less than, I want to stamp that out completely. It's getting better. Like every year there's a little bit more. We are just as creative, if not more, because we're not technically restricted by the publisher's guidelines of what they think is going to sell. We get to write all the cool stuff and all of the sizes of books that we want to do, from novellas or massive sprawling epics. Like, we can be as creative as we want. So yeah, definitely.
That's cool. What about you, Thomas? What's yours?
Oh, that's exactly it. That was perfectly put.
That gets really is that like ties into that in a way is that it's easy and anyone can do it. Like it's like or that somehow indie is like simpler and easier for the author, and it's the easy route. It's just like, to be an indie author, you have to learn so much stuff that just you never would. It's so hard. But
the problem is they just kind of like, they just restrict it to, anyone can just hit publish on KDP and do it. Well, yeah, technically yes, but if you want to be good at it, you have to work just as hard as everybody else. It's the same with anything. That's like saying, well, I can kick a football, I'm just as good as a footballer. Of course not. It's like, stop reducing it to something like so black and white.
Yeah, totally. Preach. I love it. Thomas, Holly, let's ask you, because this is a question that I would love to hear your take on.
What I would like is to see indie authors and just indie creatives in general treated as you would treat any other occupation. And that kind of ties into what you were both saying with, people saying, oh, it's, anyone could do it. It's not a real job. And if you're not trad, you're not a real author. If you look at any other industry, nobody would have that same perspective. So I don't understand why independent creatives and people that are involved in the artistic endeavors are treated differently to, say, a chef, for example. No one would ever go to a chef who runs their own catering business or has their own cake store and say, this is not a proper job. People would never go to those people and say, well, you don't work in a Michelin star restaurant, therefore you are not a professional creator of fine foods or caterer or chef or whatever they call themselves. Yet somehow they apply that logic to people who are artists or writers or actors. There are so many creative people who are not famous, not well known, who are just getting by on a day-to-day, doing it as a job that they enjoy, that fulfills them, and just about keeps them going. And a lot of people aren't even that lucky. So it really frustrates me that there seems to be this separation between the arts as a career and anything else as a career. So that would be what I would throw in the bin forever.
Can I just add a couple things to that you reminded me of? Two things. Firstly, if you have people that are like, I've never heard of you, therefore you can't possibly be any good, is so annoying. And it's a stigma that just needs to die, because they're like, oh, well, I've heard of Stephen King because he's obviously good and he's obviously put in the effort. And if I haven't heard of you, well, you can't possibly work anywhere near as hard. So why are you worth it? Which I hate. And secondly, if you look at some of the other creatives, like artists, they share sketches and they share works in progress, and everyone is like, oh yeah, this is amazing, this is brilliant. Indie game developers, look at how we're building this, and we're doing the artwork here and the level design here and the stats there. Writers, you cannot share a first draft and say, look at where I started, this is the concept I'm going with, because people will be like, oh, look at all these typos, you can't spell, this is not how you form a sentence. You're a terrible writer. Why should I ever invest in you? What you share has to be perfect before you even get taken seriously. And it's like you're saying about, unless you're in a Michelin star restaurant, unless you're like perfectly typo free, all of the emotions, all the metaphors, all the prose flows beautifully, it's not worth it. When we're in that the first draft trenches for so long, working so hard, and people can't even see that because they can only compare you to books that are already out and not books that you're currently writing or trying to write. And it can be frustrating, because sometimes you just want a little bit of, I have been working, I promise. I know it's been a year since I released anything, but look at these, notes that I have and this collection of chapters. But you can't ever do that. And sometimes I wish we had the freedom of an illustrator just to be like, oh, I'm working on this masterpiece, but here's just like a little corner of it, just rough locations, and people love it and they're like, yeah, let's see the whole process. So yeah, just wanted to add that on. Sorry.
And I feel like kind of tying into that, it's this whole idea of popularity being like the measure of success in most people's minds, whereas in actual fact, art, you can't really measure it by popularity, because even if art only speaks to one person, it is a success, because you're sharing something with the world. And I feel like there's just that, unless you're involved with the arts, you don't really fully appreciate just how successful so many artists are. You kind of only see the success of the few that are popular, and there is so much stuff out there. That's why I love being able to draw attention to indie writers by means of Spotlight Indie, because it's kind of shining a light on all these amazing artists who wouldn't otherwise maybe even get their chance in any kind of spotlight. So I feel like that opportunity to connect, and it is the best measure of success as to whether somebody's writing speaks to you. I think that's it for me. But what you said, Holly, about this idea of why isn't it treated like any other profession? I think that in lots of other professions, there is a level of validation that comes from reaching certain points. So for example, with a chef, you go to catering college, you get a qualification, you work in a kitchen, it's like you earn your stripes and that's it, you're a chef. Whereas with a writer, it's like, how many books do you have to release as an indie before you start thinking of yourself as a writer? I know for me, I released my debut and still didn't think, right, that's it, I'm a writer now, because you don't have the same sort of marks on your trajectory as a career. I would love to see that change. I would love to see us come up with a way of being able to, so that everybody who puts a book out there feels like a writer. I'm interested to know if that was everybody else's experience. Was that the same for you, Thomas and Lauren and Holly? With your first book, did you feel like that's it, I've done it now?
I have 2 novels, 2 novellas, and a short story published so far, and I still feel weird calling myself a writer, an author, or anything like that. It's just like, what? Am I allowed to say this? I don't know. I write.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll ever change.
Yeah, I think that's so relatable. What about you, Lauren?
Yeah, same. I mean, sometimes when I have days where I'm not productive, I feel less of a writer, certainly. If I have a day where I'm like, I was in the flow and got, a good chunk of words down, then I'm like, maybe I am actually. So it varies. Usually not. Usually I feel like I'm every day trying to prove that I am one if I've said that I am, and that can be difficult. And like you say, when it's very difficult to measure your success objectively, subjectively, you feel like you're not very good at it sometimes. So are you even one? Yeah, it really varies. When in a good headspace, yes, but that's a fight quite often.
What about you, Holly?
Well, let me just roll up my sleeves here. I'm going to counter argue this, because I would say that not only does this apply to myself, I am also applying it to every single one of you and the majority of indie authors that I know. You are indie authors, you are independent creatives, you're independent writers, but more than that, you are also business managers, you are business owners. You are not just crafting stories, you are going out there and you are selling them, you are driving them, you're communicating them to the world, you're coming on podcasts, you're writing social media, you're formatting, you're finding cover designs, all the things that for anyone who was trad would be done for you, or in a lot of cases done for them, you're doing yourself. So I think to sit there and say that I don't feel like I can say that I'm a writer, that I don't deserve to give myself that title, is not just massively underselling you as writers, it is massively underselling yourselves as the incredibly talented, hardworking, driven people who are running businesses and promoting things and networking and engaging, because it is a shit ton of work. Even when you're not thinking about, oh, this is me working because I'm sat on social media and I'm talking to other authors or I'm talking to readers, that is still part of your overall role in your job as an independent creative trying to promote your work. So it is, there's no point that you're ever really switched off from it. It's really difficult. So I think that you thoroughly deserve, and I am making this rule now, you must all now refer to yourselves as indie authors proudly and without hesitation.
And this all cycles around to that original answer that Lauren gave, which is that it's not just that anybody can go out and release a book. The fact is, you are not just anybody, right? We've all released a book here. We are all writers. I mean, we should be celebrating that and feeling awesome about ourselves and wearing it as a badge of honor. So but that's what I would love for us to be able to do without any kind of niggling voice in the back of your mind that goes, yeah, but Thomas, do you want to roll?
All right. That is a 2.
A 2? Oh, what's your favorite book adaptation in film, TV, or game?
I feel like I just have to go with The Princess Bride.
Nice.
That movie
Classic.
is perfect.
Inconceivable.
We're all just going to do quotes now, aren't we?
No, that's a classic. That's brilliant, Thomas. What about you, Lauren?
Has to be Lord of the Rings, because I really like the films and I didn't like the books. I'm really sorry. Yeah.
Love it. Holly?
I'm trying to think now, because I would agree with Lord of the Rings. I do really love that. And again, I don't have the patience to sit and read all the books, although I have tried. Frasier, you go first. Well, I think.
If comic book is allowed, then I would say like Superman the movie. That would be like my favorite adaptation because I think that it kind of like just put all of the heart and soul of the original Action Comics into a film, and I loved it. Like, who doesn't love Christopher Reeves as Superman? So, yeah, that would be my. I mean, it's probably problematic in lots and lots of different ways. It probably hasn't aged very well, but neither of the comics. So, it's like in terms of adaptation, it kind of works.
That's the thing about adaptation, though. Like you say, if it captures the heart and soul of it, does it matter if it veers from source material? Because I know that's a big debate with a lot of adaptations these days.
Absolutely. I would say that to me, a successful adaptation, this is my take, you can do with it as you will, but I would say that a successful adaptation is an adaptation that feels like the original more than reflects perfectly the original.
Yeah.
I think if you get the feel of it, I think that it works. Like, you look at a lot of like Minority Report, what a fantastic movie, love it, amazing. Nothing like the story of the book, but brilliant adaptation because it leaves you with the same feeling that the book left you with, and it leaves you thinking about the same questions. And that, to me, is a successful adaptation. So
that's a good quote.
Thanks, Lauren.
What do you think makes you feel rather than what it reflects? How did you word it? Sorry.
You can watch this back.
Okay. Yeah. Will do.
I mean, this is why Holly keeps me around, because for every "what would you dress your horse as," there's a nice one.
Right, I've remembered mine now. So not probably the best overall adaptation, but the best one I've seen recently is probably Arcane. So on Netflix, which I've just finished the second season of, and I was very reluctant to watch because I love the first season so much. It's probably one of the best animations that I have seen of all time, and I knew that there'd been quite a lot of, well, at least a lot more negative response to the second season. So I was trying to work my way up to it, but I watched it and I loved it. It had its issues and it had its moments that I thought didn't work, but overall I thought it was a really great, strong season. But I love the fact that, like you've said, they really focused on keeping like the feeling and the kind of heart of the game and the characters in it, and especially with video game adaptations, because obviously you're working with a very different sort of narrative. It's so easy to get it wrong, and we've seen people get it wrong so many times. And yeah, I just thought that was really good. So love that one.
Holly, would you like to roll?
Absolutely. That is, I can't see without my glasses on, 17.
17. What's one musical instrument you wish you could play?
Or that you can play.
Or that you can play. That's the question for you, Holly.
So I can play no musical instruments, despite going to college to do music. It was a really well thought out plan that I had. And obviously I have never used my qualification in not having an instrument. So it has done me no good in life. I'd love to learn something really weird. So I feel like I should say something like drums or saxophone or something cool like that. But I would love to learn, like those like tongue harmonicas or something like that. That would be great. Or maybe like throat singing. That would be pretty cool. So yeah, just something really kind of off kilter would suit me, I think. And then we could start a band, depending on what these guys say.
Should put it in a book.
Yes. Go on, Thomas.
I would probably want to learn violin or something. Yeah, I think violin, but also both classical and sawing fiddle. But I do not know how to play any instruments. I yelled into a microphone for punk bands when I was younger, and that was the best I could ever do.
That rocks. Lauren.
When I was in primary school, we learned to play the recorder, and I feel like almost all children who grew up in the 90s learned to play a recorder, if you can play in the very loosest definition of the word. I really wanted to learn violin, and I did lessons, but I had like maybe 3, and it was just holding the thing and plucking. I didn't get a bow, and I was very frustrated that I couldn't do the thing. And then my parents realized how expensive it was, and then that kind of put an end to that. So I think, like Thomas said, that there's something about like the violin or, you know, viola, any of those appeals. I love lots of instruments though. I love like the brass. You know, when you get like epic score, you think of like Jurassic Park, and you hear like the brass come in. So something like one of the horns, something that I could probably physically do, probably like a harp. I think that can be really pretty, and you can just kind of sit there looking regal, and it's just that, and then it's like magic. Yeah.
Very easy to transport a harp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just put it in the boot.
Yeah.
Drive it to your next gig. Yeah.
What about you, Frasier?
Yeah.
So I do play musical instruments, but the musical instrument that I had hoped to play, that I bought for myself because I thought it was amazing and so cool, was Yamaha did this like carbon fiber instrument that is just like a long reed, just like a long tube, and it's got really interesting shapes in it, and it sounds like a saxophone.
Oh.
But without all of the crazy. It's like a Star Trek instrument. And we bought it. I tried it. I could not get the embouchure. My mouth is too stupidly big to be able to get it so I could blow in to make a sound that sounded anything other than. So honestly, like in terms of like, do I play instruments? Yes. This is an instrument I do not play. And this is an instrument that I wish I could have played, because then I would have been able to enjoy it when I had it. Although, if we're talking about band, I'm going to say let's do a cello, and then we've got like a nice little string, like triplet to go with Holly's throat singing.
Can I change mine, actually? Because I've had
Yeah.
time to give it some thought now. I've heard everyone
Ocarina.
else's.
Yeah.
Maybe. No, so I don't know what it's called, but I've seen people do it. It's where they play electricity.
The
as an
theremin.
Theremin?
It's not the theremin. It's because the theremin, that's the one you put your fingers through, isn't it, and play. This one is one where it's basically cylinders, and you direct electricity through the cylinders.
Yeah. I posted a link in the chat because I was just thinking about it, and I saw it. And I don't know if you guys have seen this, it's freaking amazing.
Yes.
I don't know what it's called.
I would do that. Definitely.
That would be amazing to see. You'd be like the lightning queen, Holly.
Yes, and Thomas can take over with the singing and do his punk singing.
What was the
and Lauren can play the harp.
Yeah. And I'll just be in the corner going. So Thomas, what was the best thing you ever yelled into a microphone?
A bunch of lyrics I can't remember. It's been it's been 13 years since we last played. I was in this band from when I started it when I was 13 years old, and we stuck together off and on until I was 26. We played our last show. And
were you writing original songs? Were you doing covers?
Yeah, I wrote all the lyrics, just all angry socio-political lyrics and about the end of the world and stuff like that. Some of them aren't too different than some of my books.
Yeah, I love it.
Do you put songs in your books now, like any lyrics?
Do
you put any music or songs in your books now?
In my Vermin of the Old Empire series, the first 2 books, the first one has poems for epigraphs. They're like epic poetry. And then the second one has a bit of that, but also some song lyrics that are basically like rebel marching songs and stuff like that.
What was your band name, Thomas?
Stench.
I love it.
Oh yeah.
I love it. So
It's dark, but I got the logo tattooed when I was 15 years old, and my friend did it for me and then pointed out, hey, I don't think I did a good job on the eyebrows. And I was like, it's a skull. It's not supposed to have eyebrows.
I love it. I love it. The reason I ask is because I was in a band in college, and we thought it would be hilarious if we called ourselves No. Because then anytime anyone asked, can you tell me the name of your band? We could go, no, and then find it really funny and no one else did. So
I have a t-shirt that was from the IT crowd that just says no on it. And you knew that I was a secret fan of your band all along, Holly.
That my bands that I had when I was 16 that
Yeah.
had lasted for about 3 years.
You didn't play an instrument, but you were in a band and you took music
Yes.
at college. That's
Yes,
amazing.
I was a singer, and I wrote music. I couldn't play it, but I could write it. So, yeah, and I just sort of coasted through. Really, I didn't do very well in that course. I know. I'm just going to put that out there. I did fail quite badly.
Oh, I was hoping there'd be Spotlight Indie Karaoke led by Holly.
I mean, it's a possibility. You wait till September, it could happen. So, although that is a question, what is your karaoke jam of choice?
I can't
Okay,
sing.
this is
Frasier's like, I've been waiting all my life to be asked this question.
so happy with this question. I have three that I will quite happily sort of, I mean, I'm not good at karaoke, but this is the way it goes, right? If it's chill and that's what the karaoke needs, then we're going easy like a Sunday morning, simply because you get to go ew into the microphone, right?
I was going to say, which version are we talking?
Yeah, easy like Sunday morning by the Commodores. Secondly, if it's like a high energy sort of like karaoke, it will be the Final Countdown. Because how can it not be? And thirdly, so the one that I would choose if it was just standard karaoke would be Total Eclipse of the Heart, singing both Turn Around and the lyrics. It's got cannons in it, for crying out loud. It's the single greatest karaoke thing ever, and you also get to go really high at the end with the turn around, turn around. You get to do that for way too long, because then it goes. You can milk it for all it's worth, which is what karaoke is all about. So.
Oh my God, I feel like we've unearthed a secret side of Frasier now.
Thomas, what's your karaoke songs?
I've never been one for karaoke.
I love it, like the energy and the this is it, I'm karaoke now. I finally talk about it. Thomas is like, nah.
I'll do something instrumental.
Yeah. I have to say, I have actually seen people do really good punk rock versions of like karaoke classics. So one of my friends, he's in a punk band, and they do a cover version of Stand By Me, which is my all-time favorite song. And it is amazing. Like, it is so good. So you could just pick the most unexpected song.
Like,
if I was going to do punk versions of any songs, they would all be Abba.
Yes. We are here for this 100%. I love it.
Go on, Lauren. What's your karaoke tune?
I don't know. I can't sing, so it would be.
That's not the point of karaoke.
I can't sing, Lauren.
I would feel so embarrassed that you had to be subjected to I sing in the car when I'm alone, or I whistle a lot when I'm cooking. I don't know, probably just something really silly and poppy that everyone can sing along to and mask the sound of me on the microphone. So something, I don't know, easy, not super high, not super fast, that I could at least get through, I think. I'd need to have a list of possibilities, like you, Fraser. Like, are we all very drunk? Are we all trying to wind down? Like, where do we fit?
It's karaoke is not about the quality of the voice. It's all about the quality of the performance.
I know, but you are like
Absolutely.
really up for it, and Holly can sing, and Thomas was in a band for years. So you don't want to hear like a random.
I mean, I just like to say, I could sing when I was 16. This is, 20 something odd years later, and many bad choices in life, and cigarettes and alcohol, and it's not what it was. But the trick to karaoke, if you're feeling nervous, is to persuade someone else to get up there with you, and then you do something like a prayer, or share. Yeah, simply the best, all the cheesy rubbish songs that everyone knows the words to, because then everyone sings along, and you don't feel quite so in the spotlight.
Yeah.
That's the trick.
I'm gonna roll. What was yours, Holly? What was your
my karaoke jam of choice, depending on mood, I would probably either go with What's Up by 4 Non-Blondes is a favourite. I do Dusty Springfield songs quite a bit, but that's a more chilled out vibe. I like doing that. And then if I want to go really super chilled vibe, it's got to be a bit of Hotel California by the Eagles.
Oh, classic.
Although that has got like a 7-minute intro, which is really embarrassing on a karaoke because you just have to stand there for 7 minutes.
An air guitar.
Yes.
Yeah. That's all for Insight, guys.
Woo!
Yeah. Are you saying woo because it's over? Or like...
Nobody answered that question. It's a trap.
Thank you for joining us, Lauren and Thomas and Holly. Thank you for drawing our winner to the giveaway. Congratulations, Sean. Thank you for tuning in. If you tuned in and you managed to get past my terrible spec pun. And Thomas, tell everybody where they can find you on socials if they want to hang out more with you.
Your best bet is to just check out my Linktree, and that has everything. And I'm on all of the socials, not particularly active, but I am there.
Amazing. Lauren, what about you?
Same. I have a Linktree with all my socials, events I'm doing. My website is kind of a hub for everything, just llmacrae.com. I am on Instagram and Blue Sky, and holding on by my fingertips to Twitter. So a DM on any of those platforms will eventually reach me.
Amazing. And what about you, Holly?
I have a few updates to go through before I do my spiel about socials and stuff, so I'm just going to quickly throw those in now. So you can go over to our new website, which is www.spotlightindie.co.uk. You can see reviews going up every Thursday. We have videos every Sunday, and we also have, coming very soon, Realm Raiders, which is a really exciting indie project spearheaded by Phil Parker. We are going to be putting out some preview videos over the next few weeks in the run up to it launching in April, so keep an eye out for that. We also have our first newsletter going out later this month with 3 short stories from Mr. Frej Armitage and Alex S. Bradshaw. And we also have the tickets for our 2025 event going live on the 1st of April. This is not a drill, people. They will be available to buy, and they will be the princely sum of £5.49 this year. So a truly affordable indie author spectacular. What was the question you asked me again, Frasier?
Socials.
Socials, that's right. Yes. You can find Spotlight Indie on X, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Facebook. You can also find us, obviously, on the YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe. And you can find me on all of the same socials as @Holly Tinsley. And you can buy my books, The Vanguard Chronicles and The Hallows, on Amazon. And I mean, that's pretty much it. But, if you want a copy not through Amazon, reach out. I'll sort you out. I've got you covered. It's fine. Frasier, back to you.
Thank you. And everybody knows where to find me. You just find me here. It's all good. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Spotlight Indie.
know what you're talking about because I know nothing.
There's not much.
What do you think of the JFK stuff?
Can I just say, I really thought that question was going to go somewhere else then.
I really need you tonight.